Oh, Sabrina, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
Thanks for making the journey.
From Manchester. It was a bit of an epic journey, as I would call it, really.
Well, the weather wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you could say that.
Good job we weren't doing it last night. It was like a blizzard here.
It was.
You can't tell now. It's gone.
Well, it comes and it goes, to be honest. So it's like, yeah.
So I first met you in, I think it was 15 when you did our academy show, Manchester Academy.
Yes.
Because I was just, like I do with everyone, I just email people and just be honest and just say, look, we're not being going too long. We could do some good photos.
Yeah.
I think I did some research though, like I usually do. I gave some examples of some of your photos. I said I like your photos, and
yes.
I sent you some links to our music, and you must have thought, because you could tell it wasn't just a blanket email that you used to send to everyone.
Exactly. I would always look at it and go, okay, they sound good. Let me check it out first, and then that's it. It has to work accordingly to a plan
I can't remember
anyway.
what show it was, but you just done some big show, and I can't remember. I was like, those good
How
photos.
many years ago was it?
It was like June 2015. It was baking hot, like right in festival season. So.
Yeah, probably. So it's a long time ago. I can remember.
I can't remember, but yeah, you were kind enough to come and do the show, and then you even said, "Why don't I follow you guys around all day?" You remember that?
Yes. Oh no.
Lots of photos that we didn't want, but
why the hell not?
No, it was all good. It was all good.
So.
No, we got some good photos that you wouldn't normally get.
Thank you.
Like us writing the set list or arguing about something. I can't remember what it was. Actually, that was the first time we used that backdrop.
I remember that, yeah.
We just got it. We laid it out on the floor. We're going, bloody hell, this is massive. Like, any smaller shows, we can't use it. It's just too big.
I still got the picture on my website as well,
of
the backdrop with the cabs and everything else.
Oh, yeah, because we had the amp flags on the cabs as well, yeah.
Exactly. So I still got that, still to this day.
So I can't remember. You must have arrived fairly early then, because we got there about 3 o'clock.
I can't remember what time.
And you got photos of us like backstage.
Yeah, backstage when you were tuning up, even getting yourself psyched up before the whole show comes up, and it was really, really good.
Do you do that a lot then?
Not as often. I wish I could. It all depends on the assignment that I give him, but I always go in, do my 3 songs, and then I enjoy the show afterwards. But if a specific venue say, yeah, you can actually do like, some crowd shots or anything, I just snap up the opportunity. So
can't be a good crowd shot.
The last time I did a really good one was with Testament and Annihilator this year.
Right.
And it was...
Where was that at?
At the Ritz it was.
Such a good venue, that, isn't it?
I was there.
So good.
Oh, you were there?
I was there. In March.
Tech gets around. He gets around.
I make sure I get around with that as well. But when I first heard it from the guards going, yep, you can do it, I was like, right, I am going up to the balcony and getting those shots, and managed to get some really good ones as well.
How do you go about getting most of your work these days?
Well, I am with 4 publications, which I am photo editor for, which is a Distorted Sound magazine.
Oh, yeah.
They have been going for a few years now, and we're getting to that point where everyone seems to recognise us as well. When we say the name, they go, oh, I know that person, or I know this magazine. So that popularity, that works out very, very well. And then I work for Pure Grain Audio, which is another online publication. Uber Rock, which is an Irish one.
Yeah,
and if I can remember the 4th one, I think I must have worked for so many over the years.
You do too much work, that's what it means.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But this is it. The more I work, the more better I actually get as well in terms of my technicality, my skill, and making sure that I get the right shots instead of making it the same and everything.
Yeah. I mean, you recently got the big Slayer, we were saying just before we started.
Oh, my God, yes.
Got invited to do the final Slayer UK show.
It was like...
Where was that at?
It was at Manchester Arena.
The Arena, yeah.
It was nearly a sold-out one as well. Yeah. So,
as you would imagine.
It was, as you can see from my T-shirt, Lamb of God. It had Anthrax as well as Obituary.
Yep.
And with each band, I really wanted to kind of push and step up to the mark and actually make sure that I can do not better, but I can make something a little bit different, as opposed to making it the same, rather than going, okay, this is the standard shot. Here's a bit of fire. That's it.
Because you've got lots of other photographers to compete with, all doing the same thing. So
even in different venues as well. Luckily, it was myself and another 2 photographers. Usually, we would get quite a lot of people from Manchester, but it was quite minimal this time around, which is very good for us. At least we can maneuver around and actually avoid some of the crowd surfers going over sometimes.
Does it help that you sometimes when you go back to a venue a few times and you get to know the layout of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, within the 10 years, nearly 10 years I've been doing this, you kind of know where you need to go. But sometimes there may be restrictions. So like there may be a white line that you can't go across because of the pyro or anything like that.
Of course, yeah.
Or sometimes specifically a band will actually do that. But I haven't come across a band that says you just need to stay specifically in this one spot and take the shots right there.
Yeah, because you hear them horror stories of like photographers, you've got 3 shots, or you've got 5 minutes, or you've got whatever to get the shot.
Yeah.
That must be a nightmare. A lot of the big artists have that, especially in the pop industry anyway.
Mainly, well, I've heard of a certain artist I can't say, but, well, just to make sure that if anyone catches on, they'll be like, how dare she? It's basically this artist actually asked the photographers to go on specifically the left-hand side on the balcony and shoot from there.
Right.
And I'm thinking...
Just to hide, like, second chins and
only just the left side of his face. And I'm
Right.
like, seriously, it's a bit extreme. Or even like... There have been times where bands ask them to ask photographers to shoot like at the sound desk, and it is such a distance that
Far
you would
away.
need, yeah,
It needs super zoom in lens.
zoom in, well, mega, I would call it. I'll call it the mega
Like
zoom
a
lens.
paparazzi lens.
Oh yeah, the mega 200 by 500.
Zoom in from a
mils.
yacht 4 miles out on the coast. You're like, she's
Pretty
got a top
much.
off. How do you see that from there?
Oh, look what's far ahead. Oh, I can see just barely the artist right there. That's how it feels like. So I tend to avoid those kind of shows because I want that intimacy with, just being at a very nice distance just to get a couple of close-ups of the band.
Yeah.
And even just the whole picture, no pun intended, kind of thing.
yeah.
Just to make sure that it grabs the energy, but it doesn't take away that energy.
Yeah, you're
if
not
you're
like
at that
intruding
distance.
sort of thing. You just
Precisely.
like a fly on the wall kind of thing.
Precisely, yeah.
So for any other photographers who might be listening to this, I imagine there will be.
Yes.
Let's have some photography porn that will mean nothing to me and you, but
We call it...
what is your
yeah.
current setup? What equipment are you using?
Nikon cameras, 2 D750s,
Right.
and I got 2 lenses. One of them which I use primarily on most shows, which is the 14 to 24 millimeter 2.8,
Right.
and that basically anything that is 2.8 or going like a 2 or 1.8 or 1.4, that's where most of the light comes in through the lens, and you can actually get much more as opposed to being restricted.
Right.
Same thing, 24 to 70. That's what I use for like mainly arenas or even the Apollo shows. And that gives us a bit more tighter but a little bit wide. It sounds dirty.
I didn't mean actual porn.
Well, you did say that. You literally say photo porn, so I'm like, why not? Sorry for the viewers. Sorry about that. That's how we work. This is how much I've worked with so many years.
I can imagine.
And then, as you know, I will have the batteries to go along with it. You need the extra energy, memory cards, and I use all my my editing suite. So it will be the MacBook Pro that I've got, the most recent one,
Right.
and I use Lightroom and then Photoshop just to give the slight tweaks here and there, just to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
it gives the final punch, so I can actually post it on social media and hopefully.
'Cause some photos
you know.
will get it. It's perfect apart from that thing there. I'll just sort that out.
That's what I did with the Slayer shot, the one which actually looks like the silhouette.
Yeah, I saw that. Was cool.
That was almost perfect, but the only annoying thing of which I had to use a little bit of Photoshop is 2 white lights at the very top left, and I can't crop it even further because it actually takes away from the
Yeah,
actual setting.
Yeah.
So I went, right, I have to use Photoshop on this. So I gently made sure that it doesn't take away most of the actual detail and still have that that symbolism of what Slayer is all about.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
No, it's
you're
cool-
entering
cool
the
photo,
gateway
that.
of hell, but it gives you that absolute the energy what Slayer is all about.
Yeah.
And that's where I know a lot of people went, how in the hell did you get this? I went, I have 2 versions of this. One of them with just the fire, and then another one that actually shows all of Tom Araya. So
Okay.
it's whether or not which one grabs the energy most, and I just chose that instead. So
Yeah.
it works really, really well on that one. So
Do you get many artists using your photos sometimes?
sometimes
Is that a bit of a grey area if they just grab it and use it without? Sometimes if it's like Iron Maiden, you go, you can use it, it's fine. But if it's someone not so, you're like, well, you really should credit me there. Or
you know what? There have been a lot of artists, and I think this is where I credit the metal scene quite a lot. They do see my work, and they actually ask me directly for permission to share it all across the social medias. And they always say, as long as we put your copyright, that's absolutely fine. And I say, right, that's fine. You can do that. There was one instance with Anthrax a few years ago.
right.
And credit to them, they literally changed the details straight away. But it was my jump shot of Scott Ian back of Bloodstock.
Oh yes, I saw that. I did see that. Yeah, he was like jumping really high.
Yes, on side stage as well, and that was absolutely spot on. I thought I didn't get it, but I did. And I posted it a week after the festival ended. And the next thing you know it, I've been getting a lot of messages going, Sab, have you seen this? I went, what's going on? And basically, they used someone else's name as opposed to mine.
Oh, right.
And I went, right, I had to take action. So I directly messaged them on Facebook to say, right, this is my photo. I posted this a week ago. Can you please credit me? And within like 10 seconds, they changed it.
Wow.
And I was like, fair enough, that's
Fair
fine.
enough, innit? Yeah.
And
They must have been. Somebody must have said that that's my photo when it wasn't really. I don't think
Exactly.
they would have done it intentionally, would they?
yeah, they wouldn't have done, because probably they would have seen it through someone else's Facebook and go, oh, it's theirs. But when they actually get the direct contact, that's a whole different story. So as long as it's a polite word, and I'll be very happy on that. But there have been instances I've seen that they take the photo and they actually remove the credit.
Yeah, or they crop it if there was copyright at the bottom, they'll crop it
Yeah,
out.
they will
I've seen
literally
that.
remove. I mean, I've seen it already very, very recently, and it's actually trying to take them to like a court or something like that. And and even the publication, like I said, I won't go into any names because of those instances that they haven't even got in touch with him or even bothered to get in touch with him. And it just turned out into a little bit of I wouldn't say a war, but a bit of a, right, you haven't responded to my emails, I'm going to get this fine on you. And, I don't know what.
It's like ignoring a parking fine, isn't it?
Yeah, literally. And it's like, yep, this is what you need to do. You have to pay me, otherwise it's got to go to court. And this is where the discredit comes in from photographers. We do the work, but then they end up looking at it and go, oh, it's just a photo. You can use it whatever you want. But we still ask for credit, and that is
That's all. You're not asking a lot, are you?
Exactly.
Like
so,
I was always saying, Marmosettes, they always put photos up, and they sometimes use not necessarily one of the professionals who was there. They use a crowd. If fans put one up and they've tagged the band, they'll put it up and they'll put a little picture of a camera and they'll just tag the. But they'll do the same if it's a photographer as well.
yes, they do.
Simple. That's simple. Done.
Or even some photos that are unknown to us. So, like, if someone took the photo but we don't know who it is, they always put unknown. So, if that person actually gets in touch and go, oh, that is my shot, and then that's when they can change it. So, with that, it's quite nice that we've got that facility. But I always say you just need to be careful how you use it instead of like spreading it across, because they can actually mistake it for someone else's.
Exactly. Yeah. I always used to get permission from photographers, because we got some, obviously yours as well, but we used to get some awesome photos, and I always make a point of like asking for some photographers, like not many, but some like a bit picky about whether they'll go, which shot is it? Like, no, I don't like that one, even if it was theirs. Other ones are just like, yeah, fine. You don't
The
even need to
typical
ask.
Beyonce shot. That's when she was like, right there, well, I'm going to put a friggin' photo release on this. You can't do this. You can't do that. I said, well, you're the one who's performing. We take the shots. We thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. I just went, well, at least that's Beyonce in her purest form, rather than an all-perfect one,
I saw a photo. She had like loads of double chins.
That's it.
And then I was like, there was uproar about it. It's like she didn't obviously authorize it, but it's like, well, you had like 40 lenses on you. I mean, what?
Then there's several other
Are you
photographers who
saying
would have
that's
took.
not real? Have they photo edit shopped that in?
Well, we do have the power to do that. To be honest, it's like let's
Beyonce,
insert
I'm gonna
that.
add 4 chins.
Well, we could use a clone tool. There you go. So that's all we need to do, and that's
Some
it.
disgruntled photographer who didn't get what they wanted. Like, I'm gonna fuck it.
I don't blame them, to be honest. So that's our revenge,
But I've spoken to some photographers. I always make a point of speaking to them if I can, if I've got time. And I've heard some stories about it can be quite brutal at some gigs like that, where it's very high pressure and you've only got a short amount of time to get your shot in, and you're all in the sort of the same boat. And sometimes photographers are like elbowing each other out the way for the shot.
Yes, as long as we say
It's like a photographer's mosh pit. That's why.
You know what? I've had that experience as well, so that is pretty, pretty funny. But there have been times where, oh, sorry, has my mic blown?
Yeah, sound's gone.
Yeah.
It's still recording though. I can hear the. Oh no, it's gone from there as well.
Oh, that's shite.
No, I think we're still recording.
Yeah.
Oh,
the sound waves are still coming through.
Things are going in. I think it's just the.
Yes, that's sudden explosion kind of thing. Yeah, explosions on shows.
It's coming back. It's coming. Oh, there you go. It's back.
Hey.
It's back. We're back.
Hello.
We're back. I think we laughed so hard it blew out the headphones.
Is that first time?
Yeah, that's never happened before.
Sweet. I made a record. That is awesome. So going back to your question, yes, but as long
Photographer's mosh pit, yeah.
Yes, as long as we apologise to fellow photographers, that's all they need.
Yeah, yeah.
But there have been a few who I say that, I bump into them and I say I'm sorry, but they give you just a weird look. And I'm going, right, we're both in the same position, so why are you getting moody at me for? And he must be like, 20 years older than me, but at least I have some decency. This is all about the photo pit etiquette. You need that. Because if you don't do that, then, you're just going to be like that. Oh, yeah.
If you got a photographer gets thrown out of a gig for fighting.
I saw one, actually. Oh, my God. I actually saw one, but this was like many, many years ago. I can't remember what the exact thing was, but I think he must have overhogged the centre of the photo pit. And there was
someone taking his turn.
Yeah, so we were like, right, can I get this shot? And he just kind of looked and he just went, fuck off. And, I'm just like, whoa, okay. And luckily, one of the guys who I was really good friends with actually noticed this, and they actually say, come on, you had your turn, get away. And I was like, thank you. And I just carried on like not everyone else is,
Hate stuff like that.
If we needed that icon shot, then, just take at least a few seconds and then just...
Yeah, because everybody's the same.
Oh, yeah.
What makes that person more important than anybody else?
Exactly. And,
because I'm from Metal Hammer.
Well, I do work for Metal Hammer anyway.
Oh, yeah, you do, don't you? Yeah.
Yes. I only just did one of their shows, which is going to be in print pretty soon, actually.
Which show was it?
Zielanada in a church in Leeds.
Right.
So good in there. I mean, it was freezing cold because it was, of course, located in a church.
What a great setting.
It's beautiful. It was all out bluegrass, black metal, jazz, everything you could think of in that set. And the lights were absolutely insane, and the actual lights were surrounded with the stained glass window on the background.
That's cool, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had an absolute field day. It was brilliant.
I bet you did.
I was like, right.
Was there other photographers there?
I think there was to be about maybe another 4, I think.
Right.
But they had the same kind of like 3 songs, or whenever they got the shots that they need, they can actually go home.
Right.
But I took my opportunity to use my PhotoPass to get the shots that I needed because...
Yeah. You saved for the whole show?
Yes, I did. Not only to get the shots that I need, but to appreciate the sounds, because sometimes I haven't heard of the artist and I would like to get to know them a little bit more, and then you end up liking them at the night. So, with their album Stranger Fruit, which is so good, by the way, something that is out of the ordinary and you wouldn't expect it through black metal, bluegrass and jazz and everything else you wouldn't even think of. It worked so well, and for the setting, for that in Leeds, it was just perfect.
That'll look cool when you see it in print.
Oh, I can't wait! I literally can't wait. I had to take about 6 different aspects, so different angles. So because I don't settle for just one angle, I like to try and experiment with different ones. So.
Well, if you stay there longer, it gives you more time to do that, doesn't
Exactly. So I chose one on the left, centre, and right on the floor, and I just took my time on the balcony because I literally knew what I was looking for. And
that's the difference between those other photographers who come in, get the typical shots. I've got the front, I've got the side, I've got the back. I'm off.
That's it.
They're not putting the effort in, are they? They're not thinking outside the box.
Well, they do. I think it's just what they look at the day.
Right.
Or on the evening, for that matter, and go, right, I am looking at this and I want it to be in this perspective. But sometimes you don't get it, but you have to be really creative, like you say, think outside of the box, and that's what I did.
Or stay a bit longer until something happens.
Yeah, yes, that usually happens as well. So,
because I noticed, especially when we started playing some bigger venues, you could tell the difference from watching them, the difference between the more experienced photographers and the one not so, because the more experienced would, as soon as the band started would take certain shots, but then they would wait a bit because like you get a lot of
Yes.
same shots over and over again. Maybe until the second song or till the band members have moved around a bit. Oh, I'll go over here, and then. Well, the other photographers, there were just like 4,000 photos of the whole night, taking everything. I mean, how?
I am that. That's me all over because I look at the angle, but sometimes you wouldn't expect for the artist to actually do something else.
Yeah.
So you take the couple of shots and you just stand there. What if that person actually did something a little bit different?
It's true, but I was to dread if I was a photographer getting home and going, oh, I've got 4,000 photos to look at to work out which ones I want to use.
I actually find it quite relaxing because I can go, right, this looks a bit out of focus, this looks a bit not what I was looking for, but then next one you go, aha, there you go. So it's that momentum.
Swings and roundabouts, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, so for me it's a little bit relaxing, which is very, very weird for some people. They go, how are you going to edit like 1,200? I'm like, I'm not editing them. I got them so I could delete them along the way and then choose. Edit along the way. So it takes maybe about 4 hours just to get to that point, but that's the whole editing process.
For that one photo that's like the money shot.
I mean, that's where for Slayer I knew what I was looking for because from other people's perspectives they got that shot, but I went, I know I could get something different. So that's why I went, instead of going really close, I stood a little bit back so it gives that wide angle aspect, so as if you're walking into a building, and that's what I visualized. And luckily, when that fire came on, it blew out everything. But I'm like, that's a story. I want to tell that story. I want to create that story of that night. And as long as I got it, that's what I like to do.
Like you say, if all that time and all those photos, one photo can sum the whole thing up.
It tells a story.
Even though you took 4,000, it only takes one photo to pretty much sum the whole night up. And people just look at it and go, wow. Or the one that makes the magazine, that kind of thing. It's like,
yes,
that makes you all your hard work go, that's why I did that.
I remember the comments as well, because I always go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, just to promote everything. And they went, how did you get that? I said, well, look.
Well, there's always got to be a certain element of that,
yes.
I suppose, isn't there?
And it was just on that moment. I thought my camera was going to kind of like go, nope, you're not taking that shot. But it was lucky that it just happened for a split second, and then it just went. I went, my God.
Do you use fisheye lens?
No. My 40-24 has that aspect, but it's not.
I've got a thing for fish. I love those shots.
Just go so close, but then you end up looking bigger than usual. You're like,
I like those.
For me, I think it all depends on the artist. Some would like that. For me, I like that. The gentle touch of it, so that's where the 40-24 comes in.
Or just a wide angle lens.
Yeah, it's very, very, without saying it dirty, it is wide to the point you can actually literally fill this whole room, and that's how wide the actual angle can be in terms of actually getting the shots, and that's why I use it pretty much in 90% of all my shows that I do. Right.
So do you take your, have you brought your camera today?
No, I actually left it at home. I actually thought about it. I wish I brought it in.
No, I just meant, do you normally take just in case something happens and you go, I could take a photo of that?
No.
No?
I'm more about the person and that moment.
Do you only do gigs?
I do, but I do portraiture as well, and mostly editorial.
Okay, because a lot of some of the professional photographers that I know occasionally do wedding photography because it pays loads of money.
It does. But as long as they're good at their job, and that's what I'm concerned about as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Even I will look at wedding photographers and I'm going, yes and no. I'm kind of like that person to look at it and go, right, from an artistic point of view, does it work?
Yeah.
And sometimes
I suppose with wedding photography, it only really matters what the couple want. As long as they're happy, it doesn't really matter about anything else. But
I mean, I know all photographers will start small in terms of their fees anyway, and then they build up once the quality starts to show. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to go out for the first few months and charge them £200 for a photo shoot. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Where is the money in photography mainly?
Oh gosh.
If you do top level photographers, what are they just getting paid? People just hiring them, say we'll pay you to come and photo this.
It would
just throwing money at them basically.
It all depends on the assignment and how much it will be, either per page or per photo, or or if the assignment is for the whole day, this is how much they will pay you. So it all depends on the assignment. For instance, with some of the magazines I worked for across the years, they usually go either by page or by how many photos, or both. and that's actually
But you do
calculated.
get, if you get a magazine, usually you get something.
Made sure of it. Make sure of it.
I always wondered about that. I never. One thing aside of it, I've never even thought about. Like, where do they make the money? Do they get paid enough for what they do? Because it's hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes most either newspapers or magazines would actually want it within, like, I don't know, the next day or even 24 hours.
It's very fast, sort of.
Yeah, so sports or even fashion or even carpet.
I suppose that's a bit of a different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a bit more high pressure. You've got to get the shot. Now.
I've actually heard stories about like how they would actually get that shot, edit it on their phones, get it sent out, and they don't need to worry about it the next day. And I'm like, how in the fuck can you do that? I like to have my MacBook Pro right in front of me and see the details before I get into it.
Do you think we're going to get to a point though where we're only going to be looking at photos on screens and not on paper anymore?
You know what? It may come to that point, but there's always something about print that you admire.
No, I agree. I'm the same. I love it. Like, especially like Metal Hammer.
Yes.
Like, I do like looking at the photos because it's what I've always done, and I don't really want to I don't have to go to a website or on Facebook.
Exactly. And even I'm carrying the latest edition of Metal Hammer, and I'm looking at the pages going, oh, so this is what they done. I can do something, and it gives that inspiration.
Yeah, it gives you ideas and that. Yeah.
Because at least you've got something solid rather than looking at a screen and it's actually forgettable.
Yeah.
On that point, at least you've got something that is right there and going, I
do you
can do
do
it next time.
band photo shoots?
I do, yes. Yeah. I've done 1, 2, 3. I've done 3 of them. One was with a band with Caius Martyr, sorry. They're a Mancunian progressive metal band. They actually went to the Metal of the Masses final.
All right.
Another one was a band who are disbanded now, unfortunately. They're Per.
Right.
And the third one is with Rival Bones, actually.
Yeah, they were on here recently.
That was my photos of them in Jimmy's bar, actually, with all the neon lights and everything.
Yeah, those are good photos.
Those are mine.
They're using that on all their social media.
I was like, look at my promotion, yes. So something I've always wanted to use neon lights with one particular band or any. And when I thought of that idea, I went, I could use that idea with their kind of like real hard rock and roll, really punch in your face kind of music. So make them, quite bombastic with the lights, get neon lights, and it just works really, really perfectly.
Is that something you'd like to do more of then?
Oh my God, I would love to do more photo shoots.
Have you got the time?
Yes, I do actually. I got the lighting equipment, so it's like.
Oh yeah, so you posted you got a new lighting thing.
It was something I wanted to experiment, which is the Profoto A1. If I tell you the price of how much it is in real life, you just will go, what the fuck? Don't ask me.
Okay, I won't.
Research Profoto A1, you will know why.
Okay, we'll put it in the show notes so people can look at it and go, what the fuck?
And it is really.
Write it down, Liam. What is it?
The Profoto A1.
Right, we will put put a picture of it and the price in the show notes, so people can go, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is that expensive, but it works like an absolute charm.
What does it actually do?
Well, it's like a flash gun, but you
Right.
put it on top of your camera, and it works as if it was like a studio light, but miniature.
Okay.
And you've got the mechanism, so you can actually have the shape lighting tools, which is magnetic. So you just go, and that's it.
Okay, right.
But it gives out 75 watts, but it packs a lot of power into it.
Right.
And,
so what sort of settings would you be using that for? Because a lot of yours will be in low light.
Yes, most of them, but it just depends on the location or where I'm actually.
Is this to boost the lighting?
Yes, it will do.
Okay, right.
Because sometimes with like harsh lighting conditions like this, for instance, it may not get the shot that I need. So with that extra bit of light, it will pack that punch in and bring back details that I need without having to lose the detail when I do it in post-production.
That's it, yeah.
So it's more on the technical side, on that side of things, but that's what happens with all the level of experience. I'm going, I need to do more to get more out of my comfort zone, and I've got quite a lot of ideas for some conceptual photos I want to put out. All I need to do is just actually hire the people and then hire the like a space to actually do that. And got some crazy ideas, let me put it that way. So instead of like doing bands, I can actually do more the conceptual side, which has been inspired by band photo shoots over the years.
Right.
So
what have you done, like scenery photography or anything like that? Landscapes?
a bit.
Does that not interest you?
No, it's just
or food or anything like that?
I tried experimenting with food, and that was quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I love food, though. That's the only
Everyone
thing.
likes looking at food.
You're like this, oh, I could just have that meal right now.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm kind of like obsessing at the moment is I think it's called like an egg yolk society or something like that. When you pop an egg yolk and it kind of runs out.
Okay, right, yeah.
It's a bit of a, not an obsession, but I just go, oh, that's a good egg. You know you're going to have a good meal,
Yeah.
and if you've got a good egg, that is it. It's so good.
I've got a 4K TV and I've been watching on YouTube. I've got fast internet as well, like 60 frames a second, 4K HDR videos of like food and like water going all over the place. It's like amazing.
Oh my God, you just go, oh. It's that satisfaction that you get from watching it. You just go, oh my God.
Things like just sparkly, shiny things. Wow.
Or yummy things as well. So
Yeah. Even the dog stops doing what it's doing and goes, what the fuck is that? It just
What's
doesn't
this,
move for
human?
ages.
like, what's this, human? Tell me.
You put your hand in front of its eyes. Nothing. Nothing. It's just like,
Like,
what is that?
Like, right, it's doing its thing. I'll just sit back and not see a thing. Right, that's it.
Because I imagine the raw file size of your photos must be fairly big.
Yes.
Like 50 megs? More?
Well, it just depends because I usually edit an RGB, which is red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go cyan, yellow, magenta, and what's the K? I can't remember.
Black.
Yeah, that's it. That's correct to me on that one. That's it. I usually forget that bit. It's like K. Is it like a friggin'? I don't know.
It's K for black, obviously.
It makes total sense, doesn't it?
Oh, kajal. That's what I would like rely on it to kajal. It's black and Hindi, so that's how I know it.
Right.
But with that, when I do it for the magazines, they would use it on the CMYK. Their files go so high because last time was 70 meg. And that was just on the editing process. But like
a lot of it so you can zoom in or expand it without losing any quality, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. And just tweak it just to make sure that it's according to my eye and just making sure that it's right.
Yeah.
But like just the raw files itself is around about 30, 35, 40 at least. But it's just sometimes it's just the camera that you have because mine is full frame rather than a crop, which just reduces the size a little bit and loses a little bit of the quality.
Right.
The full frame, it has all the quality that you need. That's why it goes a little bit higher.
Right.
So it's it all depends on the gear that you got. But they always say that it doesn't matter what gear that you have, as long as you can use your equipment and get the shots that you want, you could do anything. So, I mean, with over the years, I made that switch 3 years ago, and it's been life-changing for me.
All right.
So I managed to get like the shots that I want, like I wanted over the years. But with that, it's practice anyway, and it all, like I say, it all depends on the equipment that you have. As long as you can work it, you got it.
Yeah.
So, and with practice too. That's the main thing.
Of course. So you've been doing it for 10 years. When did you? What made you? How did you get into it? What started it?
It was
How
through
old are you now?
Slipknot. Yes.
How old are you now?
32.
Right.
When I first picked up my camera, it was on the 29th of December 2008.
Right.
So in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be 10 years. But what got me started was when I saw Slipknot in 2008 on the 9th of December. And as you know, I love the band so much. They changed my life for the better. So I went to see their concert for the first time after being rejected many, many years ago from my family, thinking it's too satanic. Like, stop it, they're not satanic. It's just the words and they present themselves.
One of them's a fucking clown.
One with the Pinocchio nose, Like, that's phallic. Well, of course it is. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a teenager anymore. God damn it. So I went with my partner. Now we've been together for over 12 and a half years. But what I loved about the show was it was what I always wanted from Slipknot, is the energy, the passion, the absolute ferociousness, the violence, everything. And I didn't even think about the photographers at that point because I just wanted to embrace the metal show as it is. And it was just this one moment that it was the song Prosthetics. They played it for the first time in like a long time. And it was just that one moment where the white light just washes over Corey as if when he screamed. And it repeated itself like a couple of times. And I just went, if I had a camera, I would have got that. Click.
All right.
Literally click. And
did you already have a camera at the time, or did you have to get one?
No, I had to buy one, basically. Right. I did take an art course, like, during the year as well. So that actually helped a lot as well.
As in knowing what equipment to start with?
Yeah, pretty much. So I just used the their Canons, and that's where I started from before I made that switch to Nikon in 2011 it was.
Yeah.
And that was when it just kind of changed my life from that point, and it actually helped me quite a lot knowing the technicalities rather than actually going to school for it, because all of it is self-taught, by the way.
Right.
It wasn't like going, here's your camera, this is how you get educated, this is all the settings, all that. I didn't get that taught that in that college, so I had to figure it out all by myself, which one goes where, how does this work, how to reduce it, etc. kind of thing. So it's all a matter of like just making sure that I've got the right techniques, asking people, which is very important. Yeah. And the support has been absolutely fantastic. As long as you know that you give them something, you give them back by going, thank you, and you just hone the skills and go from that.
Does anybody you want to give a shout out to helped you?
Oh my gosh. I like to thank my mom. Satan. Woo, Satan.
Any other photographers who helped you out?
Oh my gosh. Shirlane Forrest was one of them. She's a Mancunian photographer, and she's probably one of the best. There's quite a lot, actually. Danny North, Todd Young, that's his name. Tom Barnes, he's pretty much influenced like his technicality in terms of his portraiture. He's more of a portraiture photographer rather than a music one, but that was back then. And that's how he actually, with his photography, he brought Bring Me the Horizon to fame.
Ah, okay.
Javier Bragado, he's a Spanish photographer, but one of the flipping best. I go absolutely mental for his photos, and I go, he does the wide angle. Why not if I bring that? And it's worked in my favour as well. Yeah. So that's why I decided to go wide angle rather than close. Who else? Oh, there's so many. But it's over the years. One of my very good friends, Steve Dempsey, he's an Irish photographer. And we've been very, very good friends. And we even give each other feedback of how to improve or what they can do or what we can do to make sure that, not only we're not the typical photographer that walks in and takes the shots and go home, stand out from the crowd. Yeah. And he's pretty much influenced me in quite a lot of my techniques and how he does it. And then that's how I kind of influence myself and actually put it into my perspective as well. And that works out. Who else? Kevin Nixon, one of the best. John McMurtry, if you know him.
Don't think so. All these people, I'll know the photos, but I don't know the...
Iron Maiden.
Okay, right.
That's him, all famous.
What, do you like Ross Halfin?
Ross Halfin, that's Metallica.
Yeah, well, he does a lot, but yeah, mainly for Metallica, yeah.
I actually admire his son's work.
Oliver, yeah.
My God, his work is flipping fantastic.
He's just risen up so highly in the...
His shots are amazing. He's very, very young. He's around about 21, 22 years old. Yeah. And I met him at Bloodstock about a couple of years ago, and he's a sound dude. I really, really like him.
What I like about Ross Halfin is he keeps going, because his back catalogue of photos that he was... all these amazing times in musical history that he was at, he just keeps pulling them out and goes, here's Roger Daltrey from 1972, it's like...
I mean, he was there when it all happened as well. Oh, another one, Paul Harries. Okay. He's great. He's like the main photographer for Kerrang! Magazine.
Oh, okay.
His portraiture work is absolutely fantastic as well, and he's done a book for Slipknot of all the photo shoots that he's done with Slipknot and the live shots, everything, and I look at it and go, ladies, Esther Segarra, one of my favourite ones. Marie Corner, she's really, really good. There's a few more other ladies that I do admire. I'm just trying to...
Is there more ladies now than there used to be?
It's growing. I think there's actually quite a nice distribution of women and men in the photography field, but it does kind of be a little bit of a pushback for us women. It's not so much of a pushback in terms of like what we could do, it's how we can actually get there, and that it's that competitiveness.
Too many men in the way.
Well, I wouldn't say that, as it were, but it's the opportunities doesn't come often for the ladies in this one, but we do put in a lot of effort into this and try to be as similar as the
But
male
at the end of the
photographers.
day, your photos speak for themselves, don't they?
Precisely.
So,
as long as you grab
as they
that,
should do.
Yes. And as long as they get it across to the world that, we're not just a woman with a camera, we're an artist as well.
Yeah.
So
it goes the same for all photographers, doesn't it?
exactly. So, there's no competition as long as we're like doing for that same purpose. That's all we all need to worry about.
I think photographers in general are a bit underappreciated because people take fantastic photos for granted. They kind of look at it. They don't, obviously, like you said, you don't think about who took this.
Yes,
What
they
is
don't.
this person all about? How did they get this? They just go, that's a cool photo. And
And then move away and appreciate
do
the
they know
fact.
how much time spent getting that one shot?
Or the fact that we wouldn't even know what the artist looked like.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think it was Lacuna Coyle at one of the Manchester shows that she actually gave a handshake to all the photographers.
Cool.
And said thank you for the promotion and letting the world know of who we are.
Yeah, and capturing the band, like capturing the essence of the band in a photo.
Exactly.
It's harder said than done, isn't it? Takes a lot of time.
Exactly. They
to do
gave
that.
everyone a handshake, and I was like, I wish I was at that moment, but to hear it from other people, I'm like, that's what we need, So, like a little
cool.
tear down our eyes. It's like, it's great, So at least
I know
we've
Corey
done our
Taylor's
job.
quite good on.
Don't talk to me about Corey Taylor because he is an absolute star.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to slag him off there from your face.
Why do you? I am a massive fan of Slipknot. What the
It
fuck?
was just your face then. You thought you were going to say something bad.
Oh Jesus! Right. If
No,
I
I heard
did,
he's quite good at giving credit where credit's due.
absolutely photogenic. He is wonderful. I mean, to know that he sold out Nottingham and I was there at his Rock City show, it was absolutely beautiful. I mean, every single photographer he knows what he wants to actually make us capture.
Yeah.
And he wants to put his story forward in front of us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, we're the storytellers. Let's do this.
I think he knows how to work the cameras and move into the right positions for the cameras and change things up. Not just like, because if they just do the same thing, it's quite difficult for you to do something.
But he does have a few signature poses that he does, and we want to grab that. But he does something a little bit different with each of his shows, and that's what makes him so photogenic and an absolute joy to. If I had a whole show, that would be amazing.
Right.
Actually.
An evening with Corey Taylor.
Oh my god, I would be the absolute fangirl going, "Oh my god, I fucking love you." He's like, "Of course." I'd be like, "Oh my god, shit." I would wait for that day. If that moment comes up, I say, "I want to be Corey Taylor so bad." Just say, "Thank you for saving my fucking life."
Are they your favourite band then of all time?
I've got them tattooed on my arm.
Okay.
So,
Who else is your favourites?
ooh, now you're talking. Anthrax, Lamb of God. We've got quite a lot. Anathema, Tool, obviously Slayer, Metallica, obviously Metallica as well.
Metallica shots I've seen.
That was the first ever time I took the photos back in Sonosphere 2011.
Is that the one you were at?
Yes.
That was, oh my God.
You two have been to a lot of the same things. You just didn't know it.
Like, have we met each other or something,
You might, maybe I knocked you as I was crowd surfing over.
Oh, him and his mosh pit. His arm in the air or his foot or something's upside down.
I would capture his shoe, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Like, it's checkered. I remember that, actually. There's so many bands. I will have to look through my phone on this one because I've got a whole collection of all the different bands that I've been listening throughout the years. Wardruna, one of them.
Okay.
I'm into all sorts within the metal scene. So, whether progressive, whether death metal, whether black metal, whether the classic, metalcore, all of that. It's my kind of.
Do you photograph? Do you mainly do the bigger artists these days, or do you do smaller shows as well?
I used to go for the big bands. But when I first started off, it was the local scene, the Manchester metal scene, that I actually honed my skills from. And then within time, it gone to the more bigger bands.
Yeah.
It's only just recently I started to go back a little bit into my roots and get more practice out of that. So instead of going for the big shows all the time, I kind of go for the smaller shows as well.
There's different settings as well, isn't it? Because you're going back to smaller, more intimate venues would present you with different challenges of getting the shots.
Exactly where my territory was as well, where I first started off. I mean, you'd never forget your roots where you came from.
Yeah.
And with photography, you know where you're going. And this is where I'm like, oh, I've shot the big bands. But you're going, well, I used to do these bands like I Saw and Daddy's Milk back in the day. Oh gosh, Colobus back many years ago. Dirty Habit, everything. So all the smaller bands that I used to know, we've become very, very good friends, and they always look into my work and going, "You still carrying on?" I'm like, "Yes." Why? Good. I want to make sure. So I'm like this. Right. I've got a mission now.
Yeah, that's true. But have you ever done any video work then?
Only one.
Right.
Only one of us walks away. Sorry. I literally thought about that. Very sorry about that. I tend to go off like that, but it's very weird how it just came about like that.
It's fine.
It was a video for one of my good friends, Daniel Mux, for his band Screaming Beast.
He's from Colobus as well, isn't he?
Yes, he does Screaming Beast as well, where he's the drummer.
Yeah.
So
I saw something about it recently. I was like, I didn't know he was a drummer.
Well. Oh, he's very, very multi-talented. He's one of my best friends anyway. Basically we did like a video project, and I had to kind of look into this and go, right, I haven't done video before, but I would love to give it a try. So I said to Dan, right, let me do this video of you behind the drums, because I know what I'm looking for. This is where I'm actually going, for the actual project to go forward. And I just kind of grabbed my camera, press not control, but record. I just kind of experiment with it and let him do his thing. And that was the only time I'd done video, which they actually appreciated. And he's even using it for, for different material as well. So to actually give him like more opportunity to go elsewhere as well. So that was really, really nice. I know video is a little bit more complex, which I'm more the picture taker and the storyteller through pictures rather than video, because for me it's
they're very different, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it's just, I suppose
you need multiple camera angles usually, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'd rather move and just take the click and just do that again. So with video, it's all right. I think it just depends on the mood and if I want to carry it on. But it was a really, really good experience for the first time doing that. So maybe sometime I may do that again, but photos is more my priority on that one. But I wouldn't mind pursuing it at some point anyway. So
So what was can you remember what your first camera was?
The Canon 450D.
Did it serve you well?
It did, yes. It really did.
How did you know what to get?
Reviews. Usually from people's...
Because you knew you were going to lead low light photography. So
yeah. Because the camera can do so much, it's the lenses that were really important as well. Because, the camera is just there to, you press the button, there goes the shutter, that's it. The lenses is really important of how much light that brings in. So the starter kit was the 17 to 55, but their settings was just a bit more set as opposed to actually giving more
not very
expansion.
Like flexible.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to go for the was it the 17? I think it was the 17 to 55 Canon lens, but it was a 2.8, so it gives more light.
Right.
And it gives me more flexibility just to kind of experiment a little bit more with the low light conditions, because with low light you're going to get quite a lot of grain and a lot of noise behind photos. So if you set that standard on that lens, that it will make your life a little bit easier. A little bit difficult, but a little bit easier at the same time, kind of thing.
So was Nikon always the end goal? Is that what you wanted to be?
It was, yeah. Actually.
But was it just got to wait until you could afford one?
Yes. Yeah, because back then it was like probably the most expensive one out there. But when I look at other cameras like the Phase 1, no. The Phase 1s are like, what, 20 grand?
Jesus.
But you got Olympus, you've got Sony. So Sony's are pretty much running the game on this one right now because of their quality, and it's everything.
Yeah, most of those, when I was on YouTube searching those 4K 60 frames per second videos, most of them were Sony. I wasn't searching for Sony, but like for what I was searching for, Sony seemed to do a bit of everything.
They're pretty much on top.
Where's Sony come from all of a sudden? Especially in cameras, anyway.
I mean, I know a few of my friends have actually got the Sony A3s, I think it is. I think it's the A7 Mark III or something like that, but their quality... I think I had to rethink on my Canon, but...
What would you say was the most popular brand? Is it Nikon? For professional photographers, anyway. Or does it vary, like from music photography to landscape photography to portrait?
Yeah, it varies. It varies with category. It only just depends on what you want. So if you wanted portraiture, most people will go for Canon because of the light and the way it actually looks quite smooth in terms of the textures. For Nikon is more about quality and noise in terms of the music side of things. So, but then you've got Olympus, you've got Sony, you've got Pentax, you've got Fuji is another one that is actually raised into the game.
They're one of the older brands, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So it just depends on what you want to go for, but it doesn't matter which brand, as long as you can work.
You need to know how to work,
camera.
I suppose, don't you? Yeah.
Precisely, as long as you know how to do it.
I think a lot of the photography is having that in you to spot a shot.
Yes.
Because you could have the best equipment in the world, but if you're not there, if you can't see the shot, you go, oh, I need to take that moment there.
Yeah.
It's the same with like wildlife and people like landscapes. It's like, I do it sometimes, but I have not got the time to be a photographer, but I'll go, oh, I'll take a photo of that.
Yes.
But some people would walk past it and that wouldn't cross their mind. That's like you saying about when you Slipknot, you go, I would have taken a photo if I had a camera.
Exactly.
It's just something in you, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Spot a moment.
And even like I know my family, my siblings, mainly my sisters, they've done art, like mostly fine art anyway, and they're really, really fantastic. I can't even draw a person for shit, so I know where my skill was.
Yeah.
So I hold a camera, that's it. And even my older sister, she did like a project with a camera, and she always say, if it weren't for me, I'm like this. I know that's the whole point, you know. So it works out on that one. Whilst the males on my family, my brother and my dad, they're more the mathematicians, the scientists sort of
right.
thing. So I'm like, yeah, that shows where our skills are. So yeah.
What's the best piece of advice someone's given you?
In terms of photography wise? Keep shooting. Practice on it. Because if you don't practice and if you don't go forward with it, you got to lose that skill. It's like taking riding a new bike or something. You know, you learn how to do it, but then it doesn't go away. But for art, it kind of goes away very, very slowly. So you just need to keep that practice of keeping on shooting, be constantly inspired, because the inspiration is going to go away. And you will lose that and you go, right, I don't want to do this anymore, and I end up quitting, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of music, learn the pit rules. Very important. Know when to apologize, even introduce yourself, even you don't know the people. I always go up to new photographers and say, oh, you're new here, and they go, yes, I am. And I went, right, this is how we do it, you know. So, you know,
That's good. You don't often get that in a lot of situations. They're almost like the newcomer. I want them to fail.
In the back
you get
of
a
your
lot
mind,
of that.
well, in the back of your mind, you go like this. Let's see them suffer. No, but I wouldn't want to do that. I'm not that kind of person.
You're like,
anyway.
I wish I had someone there to do that when I got there.
You know what? That happened. I was like, right, I was on my own for my first one with Skin Dread. Not a lot of people were there, but I was like, okay, this is the situation. I'm going to do this, and this is how it works.
You're going to make the most of it.
Luckily, one of the guys who was there, who was pretty much there from the very beginning, you may know him as Chris Wood.
I've heard of the name.
Sadly, he passed away in a motorcycle accident on a motorway.
Right.
But he was security for the Manchester Academy back in the day.
Right.
And he was there pretty much all the way through. He's even offered me advice of how to, you know, do the rules of the photo pit, how to react, how not to react, and everything else. And he taught me the full works of everything whilst I was on my own on that point. And then from that point, that's when new photographers started to come in and everything else. And some of them who've been there for many, many years, I always come up to them and go, what do you do? How do you work? And everything else.
Yeah.
And they always say, make sure that you're very respectful for everyone. So security, yourself, to others, to fans even.
Yeah.
Even the tour management, make sure that you abide to their rules. Otherwise, that's a bad rep on you.
True.
And just to make sure that you know reputation is important.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
I've always learned that, you know, if you fuck up for the rest of your life, and you won't go back. So that's why I want to make sure that my reputation is kept in line, and also I do make sure that with my reputation, good work comes into it. And that is very important to me on that one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because that's part of your reputation. It's not just your photos, is it? It's like what we like to work with.
Exactly.
Which is the same in most aspects of the industry, isn't it? Like, if bands are absolute cocks, no one's going to want to work with them. No one's going to want to book them.
Exactly. And one more other thing. Have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, some people forget to enjoy things.
Exactly. That's why I always do like a little boogie in a photo pit, going, "Oh, my favourite song, right, boogie," and then I just carry on like that.
That reminds me. You know Michael Bisping, UFC fighter.
Yeah.
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said something interesting about. He knew that last fight he had when he became champion. He knew that it was going to be his last fight, but it was going to be a lot of work. And his coach said to him, "Right, well, you might win, you might lose, but either way, it's your last fight. Let's fucking have fun. Let's enjoy it."
Exactly.
Like, let's not be a slog where you're just training for this fight and then you're going to retire. Let's enjoy it. And I think sometimes people get so into it they forget.
Yeah,
that.
That's why I want to kind of like remove myself from the seriousness of the work, even though it is a serious thing, and you want to take the best pictures that you can. Have a great time with it. You don't get a photo pass for that specific reason, just to take pictures and go away. You're here to appreciate the band as well. And most of the bands that are photographed, I've always enjoyed their music anyway.
I was going to say, have you ever forgotten that you're supposed to be taking photos and got so distracted that the band is so good?
Devin Townsend.
You get in the show and you go, "Oh, I've only taken 2 photos."
Oh my God. Devin Townsend was my worst, but he was a joy though, because I can still remember this. It was in 2011. It was at Damnation Festival.
Right.
And that was where I saw Devin Townsend for the first time. And knowing me, I am a massive fan of Strap It Young Lad as well. And there was this one point, I can't remember the song, but he actually asked everyone to say, "All right, everyone, let's dance." And I didn't know I did it, but I danced as well. And I looked up and went, "Shit."
Should be capturing this.
He looked down at me and I looked up and I went, "Oh, fuck." And he just went, "No, don't say that. Carry on dancing." I was like, "Fuck yeah." And that's when everyone in the photo pit started to dance, going, "Oh, okay then." And then they were all dancing. I went, "Oh shit, I still need to get to work. I only got one more song left." Like, right, shit, come on. Oh my God, he's my... And I'm going to see him next year in his, I think it is either an acoustic show or just, it is an evening with Devin Townsend. Right. I'm just going to be like this, "Don't say anything about Strap It Young Lad, please. Otherwise you're going to be the biggest embarrassment ever." But Devin Townsend, it was my worst enemy, and I can still remember it to this day.
I think that'll be my trouble. I'd get distracted by if a band was really good. I'd be like that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
just sit back and just watch the show, and that's it, and just don't do anything. I almost did it at that point, but you just had to be like, "Right, I've got a job to do. Shit, right, carry on."
It'd be like if I said, "You should go and photograph Megadeth." Like, I probably shouldn't, because I won't get the photos. I know I won't.
End up noodling like that. Exactly. I mean, me and Megadeth, I'm absolutely fine. I'm like, I know the music. He's good. All I need to do is get the good shots. It just depends who you admire that you go, "Don't get lost in this shit." Slipknot's my worst enemy. Stone Sour.
Yeah.
Like I said, Devin Townsend. I think the last time I lost my rag was, if I can remember, Patushka. There are a black metal band from Poland, I think they are, but they dress up in like robes as if you were actually going to church.
Right.
And they have all the works and everything, and I almost like didn't take anything, but I appreciated the show so much. I went, "Wow, what is going on?" Back in the pit was violent and there was no barrier.
Oh, right.
So I had to stay in the corner and just watch everyone just going absolutely mental. There was punches and kicks everywhere.
I suppose if you're looking through your lens, you have no idea what's going on around you.
Like,
guy lands on your head. You're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, I've dealt with it. I ended up going, "Don't fuck with me." Just that glare going, "Don't." That's another one. Watain is another one. I almost didn't do anything with Watain. This was back in 2012 at Bloodstock.
Right.
It was just the first chord, and I just stood there for 30 seconds, not doing anything. Because just the whole performance, I was just so enthralled and fixated. I just went, "I don't want to do this. What is this?"
Yeah.
Until someone bumped into me, I just went, "How many songs is this?" "We got 2 songs." what, a whole song got lost? Shit! So I could have taken about maybe 100 or 200, but I concentrated on the first song and just tried to process what was Wate doing. I was like, what the fuck? It was so good.
So do you generally take photos all the time, or do you do in bursts?
Ooh, that is a good question. Sometimes it could be just the singular shots, and then sometimes it could be bursts where it takes about maybe 5 or 6 per round.
Yeah.
I only do that when there is a jump shot.
A what?
A jump shot.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And so basically, when a band member actually jumps in the air, that's when I use a burst, like that.
One of them will be the right shot.
Yes. I wish I had a faster camera to do that, but that will be another $5,000 on top of that.
Okay. Yeah. That's like the paparazzi photos, isn't it?
12 frames per second. If you hear it, it's as if you're firing a machine gun.
Right. Okay.
That's how fast it is. Mine does
Don't
only
miss a thing.
Yeah, it's like this. Right, I got it. Right, I didn't miss a thing.
You
so
just press the button. And you go, I know I've got it in there somewhere. I'll get it later.
Right, search for it. 20 seconds later, there you go. There you go. So that one would be the one I would go for. But it just depends on the shot. So like with the Slayer ones or anything else, I usually do the single ones. But if there was like a moment where like 2 band members are together or 3, I always take the burst because I can't miss a shot.
You took one of us of that.
Yes, I did.
It
Yes.
was me, Kev, and Martin all on the front of the stage in a line, sort of like pulling weird faces. Like
Yes.
we didn't plan that, but you managed to.
I remember
capture
I
that.
still got it on my Instagram as well.
All right.
I looked at it and I went, I must have took about maybe 7 or 8 of those just to get the perfect one. And it works. It really does. So it's according to the moment, and if it works and if anything else happens, that's where you just need to be really quick with it. So like that's it. So
So what is it about? How do you do the paparazzi? Do you just hold the button down? And
just hold the button down and it
okay,
just
right.
fire. It will just go. That's it. I can't do the fire gun, but you get the idea. And I was taught never to pull any faces because it ruins my wrinkles. Thanks, Mum. Like, yeah, thanks. But it is that notion. It does come with a little bit of practice and waiting for that right moment to come forward. Like one with Slayer as well. Usually they just stand in like their positions, but Tom Araya walked towards Gary Holt, and I literally followed him until they just did some kind of like you know the typical like duel sort of thing. And it took maybe about 4 or 5 shots, and I got I got the 2 shots that I need. That is all. So it's all about the moment and just when to use the bursts and everything. So it just depends on the actual situation.
So what's like your first response or your first thought when you get to a venue and you think, the lighting shit in here, what am I going to do?
Give it all I got. Sometimes it may be the venue who actually gives you all the access. No photo pit or anything, and the lights are bad. I'm just going, okay, this is how I'm going to use it. Let's look at this creatively. So one of them I did was the Great Old Ones, I think they're called, and they did it in Rebellion. You can't see their faces because they're hooded up. They've got this big kind of mic stand with like the Cthulhu on the front, and the lights were just like pretty much just pinks and blues, and it was just flashing with strobes and everything. And I just look at it and I go, right, burst all the way through, because I would get ones which are totally black because of the strobes, or I get one that actually you get that perfect one, but it kind of works. But as long as I got the details there, that's what I need, and the energy is very important as well. So it's all about luck on this one, but as long as you know where your surroundings are and not to get hurt, you're there. So with Rebellion, it's quite the worst one because there's no photo pit barrier. So the last time that I had to really watch where I was going was Napalm Death last year.
God.
I went, Sab, what the fuck are you doing? Even my partner said, you sure you could do this? I went, I've done this before, it's fine. And I didn't know how violent it was until I went, oh, right, okay, right, plan B. So I have to wait till everyone stopped, then I could move to the next angle.
Oh, I see, right.
So in that way,
Don't move mid-song, you might lose an eye.
Jesus Christ. I had a near miss because of that, but it was several years ago. I can't remember who it was though, but I had a near miss and I went, right, wait until they stop, then you can fucking move. and then that's it. So that's how I learned my lesson to go, just be careful. You know your metal, you know how the pits work. Just work with it. Just follow it through, and then that's it. That's how you know, at least you don't get hurt. And that's the main thing. So
what do you prefer, indoor or outdoor?
Both.
Okay, you don't have a favourite?
No, because
they're both very different, I suppose.
It is, because with festivals, you know, you got all the light that you could get along with the stage lights, so you can have a bit of a play about and get a bit creative with that. Indoors, it's more intimate and it's more personal, and you know where you are. With festivals, you don't, because
it can go from day to night, I suppose. As
well. You had to change your settings very quickly. And
I love the perfect time when the sun's going down.
Yes.
I love that. And the lights are on, but they're not a full effect, but you still got the sun just coming out. I like that one.
Oh, I love that. Anthrax did that, and that was brilliant. I tried to get a shot of that, but that didn't work out in the end.
Right.
I think there was one, I can't remember. It was Bloodstock, and the sun was setting, and the crisp light coming from the sun within the clouds. Oh my God, you could. It was as if it was my studio. I was like this, right, take it. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It was so nice. With the venues, you get what you give, or like, you know, you have to be pretty much anticipating what lights you're going to be getting. So sometimes it could be great, sometimes it could be difficult, sometimes it could be just no light at all. Which was one show that had like no light? Anathema a few months ago. It was just
indoor.
It was indoors, and it was just, you couldn't even see much of the stage show. So I had to really go.
What can you do with your equipment in that situation?
Oh God, you have to go so high on the shutter speed,
right?
That's where most of the light will actually come through, but it will end up making the shot very, very blurry.
Okay.
So the motion blur that will come into it, that's what it's called. And you just had to keep yourself and your camera absolutely still.
Right. Do you ever use tripods then when you?
Not in a venue, no. They're not allow you to do it unless you're working with the band. Then you can use it.
Okay, right.
For us, it's, you know, for first 3 no flash, you don't have that rule at all. They're like, just get what you're given, use it. You know, right. So it's a little bit difficult, but it comes with practice on that one. So
yeah, because I mean, festival, I think I prefer the festival shots. The big outdoor, always the best. Especially like the contrast between the day photos and the night photos.
Yes.
That you can still same sort of energy, but like totally different. Well, obviously with the lights, without the lights.
I mean, Ghost was really, really good on that.
Yeah, they must be quite good to photograph.
So good. I mean, I think, well, as you know, Papa, he's a very, very sassy character, but you love that because you kind of look into his character and go, I could play around with this and make it as if he was like, yes, I control this church. What of it? You know, so translate that, and that's what I've done. And then with the other band members who are covered in masks and wearing very, very smart clothes, and, you know, they have different personalities as well, and trying to translate that in a photo, it is a bit of a task, but you look at it and go, oh, I know that one character he's very good for, or she's good for, take that shot, and as long as you got it, that's it. So with Papa, very sassy. I'd say he's a very sassy character, but you can play around with it in your photos a lot, and this is where you go, this guy's photogenic is brilliant, you know, so it's all about that as well. Which one was another good one at night time? I think Lamb of God was another one. Machine Head was another one.
Machine Head, yeah.
I loved Gojira in the Sunset when they played at Bloodstock.
Right.
Not this year, but a couple of years ago. They actually was like the second band before the main act came on. I can't remember who it was. But they...
Have you been at that one?
No.
What was the last Bloodstock you went to?
2015.
Oh, 15, right.
It could be that one, actually.
It could be. Have you seen Gojira before?
No.
Ah, there you go, wasn't it?
Right, because I remember Gojira was playing in the Sunset, and that was so
good. I think it might have been
good.
2016 then.
Even Sabaton was another one. That was really, really good.
Sabaton, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So do you do download Bloodstock every year then?
Not download. I only did it once.
Right.
It was a little bit too much
What do you mean?
As in the I suppose the size of the stages and the distances.
Right.
Because it is a bit of a walking distance to get there, and even just the whole setting, it just didn't feel my place, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you have that kind of like vibe from it, and you can feed off it, but it just didn't match.
Right.
What I would usually go as a visitor, you get that oh my god, that excitement, but working it just didn't translate that, unfortunately.
Who were you working for when you did that one?
It was back in the day, Drummer magazine.
Right.
So I just took the pictures of the drummers behind their kits and everything. I enjoy photographing drummers. They're like the unsung members of the bands, and they're brilliant.
I know from experience they are.
And their facial expressions are fantastic.
For every 5 photos of the band, there's one of the drummer.
Or 2 or 3, you know.
And the ones have got like a guitar headstock in their face or something like that, or a cymbal going like that.
Because they can't move around to get in shot. You just think that like they're just...
like, hi!
drummer trying like photo bomb.
Yeah. I've caught a few actually where the drummer actually looked in front of my camera and they just pulled the wackiest of faces, and I'm like, thank you, that is brilliant.
Sometimes the back of the stage isn't lit very well compared to the front. The Brickyard used to be like that, but they've sorted that out now.
Yeah. I mean, I wish the where the drummer is, their lights are a bit more kind of stand out. I really want that to happen a bit
even
more
like
often.
One light just coming down on them.
That would be perfect. I mean, Mike Mangini, he had all the full works of his lighting gear, and his drum kit is absolutely huge.
Right.
And it's just like he's got the octobombs on the top, and then he's got like so many other drums at the front, the basses, and you know, like all the different cymbals going everywhere. It's those things I look and go, now, if that kit was that extravagant, you could do that with the lights, you know. So with other like bands with the drummers as well. I mean, I want more lights to go on the drums because I love drummers, and they're so much fun. Even like I said, they're the most unsung band members of any band. You know, more than like hitting or even just crashing their their drumstick. That makes it a great personality to actually bring out. You know,
a lot of drummers have the tricks that they do. They flip their drumsticks and all that.
I could do that. I can actually spin a drumstick like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Have you done their Hailstorm?
Yes, I have.
Their drummer is all over the place. He's like an animal.
He actually had like drumsticks about like that big and played it and everything. I went, "Oh, you mad?" I mean, well, he is an absolute badass on the drum, and his drum set is so simple. Though.
There's not a lot there, is there?
But as long as you work it, that's the most effective thing. You know, sometimes the most simplest of kits can have the most effect on them, and he brings it as well. Even when he played at the Apollo, it was just a simple kit. Him and his wacky shirts, which I absolutely love. I was like, wait a minute, are you going on holiday or something? You know, I'm like, wait a minute, we're in England, we're fucking cold here, you know. And he was wearing like, you know, the whole gear and everything, but his playing was absolutely spot on, and that's what I love about it.
I saw them open for Alter Bridge back in.
I'm trying to remember.
15 with who's the other band that I don't like.
This is going to be a debate.
Where the singer always talks to the women and he was giving out roses and.
I know which one you mean. Giving out roses. Maybe I was at that show for Alter Bridge.
What is their bloody name?
I can't remember.
I'm just not a fan of their music, more than anything. But he just annoyed me that night. He kept talking to the women and like making eye contact with these women down the front.
I don't remember, to be honest.
But was it?
I know Alter Bridge and Hailstorm played on that night.
Anyway, Alter Bridge, Hailstorm opened, and for me, they were the highlight of the whole night. Yes. Because it was half an hour, and they just fucking went for it.
Oh, yeah.
And his drumming, he was like standing on his stool while still drumming, throwing his sticks in the air, like really high in the air, going... and then waiting for it, catching it, and then carrying it. He didn't miss a beat. Never missed a beat.
Boom. Exactly.
But, like, I couldn't take my eyes off him. And he was at the back of the stage, and that's very rare.
Same can be said for Mario of Gojira.
Right.
He's so technical, but you just watch him and you go, whoa. His kit is simple, but he brings it. He brings the something that Thomas Hark would do. Thomas Hark is from Meshuggah.
Yeah.
don't talk to me about Thomas Hawk. It's like I'm watching a fucking mathematician. That's how great his drumming is. It's like he's like the mathematician of the fucking drums going. I'm like, how do you do it, man? You know, same can be said for Mario. Simplest of kits, great effect, and his technicality shows out as he's familiar with his kit.
Yeah.
The same thing for photographers. As long as you know what your kit is and you're familiar with it, you can go all out with it and try out some new tricks that you wouldn't even think of, you know. So
it's true. Yeah.
And I always associate photographers and musicians as the same because we're all creatives. And when you put your artistic view to the world, you're either going to be critiqued or you're going to get loved. So it's that sort of like, it's that comparison as a musician and a photographer.
True, yeah.
So not a lot of people think of that, to be honest. And
do you see it as a competitive industry then?
I would say so.
Especially if someone was starting out now.
Yes. Oh, God, because all the technology is changing as well. So you have to really keep up with appearances.
And the etiquette, I would imagine, as well.
Yes. And also, sometimes it's the people that you know in order to get the work.
Yeah, it's true.
Like how I got my first gig with Metal Hammer was through my pictures of Stone Sour back in 2010 when they played with Avenged Sevenfold as well.
Right, yeah.
And that was like the best show as well. And I just posted my pictures of Stone Sour, and that's when the editor of the art editor actually said, I'm going to keep an eye on your work. You're really, really good at what you're doing. And it was like a year after that, he got me my first gig with Alter Bridge in Manchester Arena. And then it went to my first page and spread in 2012.
Right.
So it's a long ass time ago on that one, but it kind of goes with that promotion. And this is all due to Twitter, by the way. That's when it kind of all started out. And it was all because of that kind of promotion that it goes, I see your work. Let me keep an eye on you. And that's how
you're always like tagging the bands in your photos and stuff like that.
Yes, it is important to do that because otherwise they'll just go, right, Stone Sour, that's it. And you're like, I could do better than that. Let me tag the band in, and then they will look at it and go.
Or the management or the PR company or something like that.
I do that. I do management, I do PRs, I do,
I used to do that.
Some band members as well. So like,
because some of them are very present on social media, so it helps to involve it. Because that's the advantage of photos, especially on social media, is you're not just sharing a link. A photo stands out. They scroll down, everyone stops to look at a photo.
Yes.
And if it's really good and catches their eye, oh, what's that? Who took that? Like they're sort of interested about it.
Exactly, and even the person's work behind it as well. So it is about the artistic feel about it rather than just a standard photo just screaming into the microphone.
Yeah.
You have to kind of make it different, but also tell its story of that night. So it's all about each night, how they give it to us and how we could translate and to go, that was a fantastic night. I should check out that band next time. So for next year, I've got quite a lot of big plans to really step up the game. So I really want to really push a little bit more out of my comfort zone, and that's what I'm aiming for. So I know
by doing like things like what?
As in making each shot different than the last.
Okay.
So like
challenging yourself.
Yes. So like with each band, each year they're going to be a little bit different. Their personality changes, or it's going to be kept the same, or it's going to be a bit better. So I look into it a little bit more, and I take from other photographers who did it from their nightlife, or Birmingham, or London, or Glasgow, and see how they translated it. And I'll go, okay, let's see what we've got in Manchester, and if it gives me what I get, I could translate it.
Yeah.
It's not particularly that easy when you look at it and go, you've got a few seconds how to translate it. You just have to be really, really quick and go, right, I need that shot. This is what I'm going to get. So, and sometimes it's all about spontaneity as well, because I kind of work off that, and it's quite fun and a little bit more, a little bit out there rather than going, I'm looking for that standard shot and everyone would do the same shot. I want to make it different rather than the same. So that's why I always look at all of my works on my previous years are going, that is so shit.
Well, yeah.
But
it's natural progression, isn't it? You're always going to be, but you should be better than you used to be.
I mean, I am my worst critic when it comes to it as well. So I end up going,
perfectionist.
I am my worst enemy. I really am. I'm looking at one band, I go, that was shit. Or even when I look through my editing, when I do the editing process, I look at it and go, oh God, God, why did I take that photo? That is fucking shit, you know. And
nobody else is saying this. This is just you to yourself, though.
It is. I think I am when I do my art.
Overly critical.
Very. But sometimes I had to kind of let that go and go, well, I did take a good shot. At least it's usable, rather than going, oh, the technicality is shit. Fuck it, you know. Yeah. So it's.
I was going to ask, would it be an advantage to you if you, like, say a band was coming out, say like it was, I don't know, like Stone Sour, if you went to the show as a punter the night before?
Yes.
And then the next night you kind of knew what was coming up, you knew what to expect. Would that help with any of your shots?
Sometimes.
Or even know what the set list was?
Maybe the set list will help. One point, I've already known through their previous shows, Corey would actually come out with a confetti cannon.
Right.
And he shoots the cannon into the audience with all the confetti coming out. And that sounded so phallic. Oh my fucking God. What's with these fucking
I hadn't thought of it until you mentioned it, so.
And it was just I kind of looked at other people's photos and go, right, I know what I'm getting. But it was on that night in Nottingham, it just didn't work out.
Right.
But
so do you look at photos from previous gigs on the same tour?
Yeah.
And go, oh, okay.
And go, right, this is what they used. There's going to be sparks all over the place. Yeah. And I'm like, right, I know what to expect.
It's like your homework, isn't it?
It's always been homework and research as well. It's very important. But then on that night, when I tried to get the photo of Corey shooting out like this, and I always had a visual going, I need this way, I need this angle, but it just didn't work out. And I'd gone, all right then, well, it didn't work out. I'll keep it for the archives and not show it to anybody. But what I do to make up for it is to make sure that each shot tells a story, the excitement, the buzz, just everyone feeding off from Corey's energy, because he is a natural performer. And I've known this for ever since I've known Slipknot going, he's brilliant, he's photogenic, I know what shots I'm going to get, I just need to grab it, make it different, but not the same as everyone else. Yeah. So this is where I got that shot that I've posted on Instagram and everywhere else of him just shutting down the microphone with his arm like that.
Yeah.
And then another one where he actually shouted to the crowd, and I got a wide angle shot of it.
Cool.
And that's what I wanted, is that he came up on the high rises or whatever you call them, the little stands that
on the front of the stage.
Yeah, those ones.
Risers, yeah.
And he would always come up and he would always look into the crowd. I'm like, right, I know what I'm going for. I just need a wide angle shot of him screaming, and that's the shot that I need. And it was a very good thing he actually came on the very last moment of the third song. I got that shot and I went, oh, yes, that's what I wanted. So research is really important on that one. So,
which is your favourite social media? What do you have the most success or interaction on?
Instagram.
I was going to say Instagram because it's pictures, so it should.
It is.
I would expect that to be.
It's around the territory of that.
Yeah.
One. Instagram are getting more of a reaction rather than the Twitter slowly is starting to get there. Because with Twitter, it's sometimes if the band sees it, that's when they retweet it, and that's when everyone goes absolutely crazy on it. Facebook, it's a bit give or take sometimes. Yeah. It's
you have to do sponsored posts and stuff. Do you ever do any of that? No.
Never believed in it.
Right, that's fair enough.
Maybe it's me because it's like, you have to pay so much in order to get more viewers coming in, and I'm more about the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
So if one person sees it and go, oh, I enjoy that person's work, they will like it.
And hopefully share it.
Exactly. And that's where I favour that authenticity rather than just going, right, I'd rather buy more views because otherwise it's going to look crap. And Facebook is quite notorious of that. So with Instagram, as long as you know the algorithms of like when to post, how you post
all the
hashtags, everything, who to tag in as well, location, everything, then that's when all the light starts to come in and everything. So, I mean, there was one picture this year that got, I know it's not much, but for me, it's quite a big deal. It's 137 likes.
Right.
And I've used the right algorithms and everything, and that's how I actually got a lot of the, a lot of the favoritism on that one. And it was my shot of Avatar this year.
Oh, right, okay.
He's just standing on the stage with the name kind of beaming, hand out in the air, just screaming into the air, and it just shot up completely. I'm like,
photographer's dream.
Oh, I love Avatar so much.
Some people do that though. They know to hold a pose.
Yes.
Because of that reason.
He's very good.
Extra few seconds. Sometimes they might turn.
when the light, he does that.
Over there,
like,
over there.
Hey, exactly. I mean, Steel Panther are really good at that.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God, they just do like that. They look at the camera, even fluff the hair like this. I'm like, how do you do that? Just fluff the hair and just play bass at the same time? Like what? Even just putting hairspray on stage and going, now that's a show, but.
Yeah, can't breathe.
I can't breathe on that one.
So, what is there any bands that you've yet to photograph that are on your list?
Ooh, Maiden is my big one.
Okay.
They are quite tricky to get to, but who knows? Who knows? I wouldn't mind photographing Metallica again.
Mm-hmm.
I only photographed them the once, and that was 7 years ago. So
was that at which was that?
Sonosphere.
Oh, that was a Sonosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one would be obviously Slipknot again, because the last time I did was back in 2015.
Right. Yeah.
So as the practice goes on, at least I know what I'm aiming for in this one.
How far in advance do these projects do you get signed to certain gigs and festivals?
Sometimes it could take a month, sometimes it could take 2 weeks, sometimes it could take a day, or even...
It's not too far in advance, then you don't get that much notice.
Like this, right, here's the press, we need you to sign up. I'm like this, right, I'll take this one. And, usually when a show comes up, I'm like this, I'm interested in all of the shows that are coming up anyway, whether big or small. It just depends on the assignment and how the PR works. Sometimes you could get it within few hours of the show, and that... I can't remember who it was, but I known one band I was waiting for, and I went, right, I'm not going to get it until they said, yep, you've been accepted. I went, it's 4:00, I need to get to the venue at 6, so it's that's how tight it can be sometimes. There are loads of instances that I get about 2 weeks beforehand to go like, yep, you got the show, you're absolutely fine. Festivals for press, it does usually take about a month for you to put your name forward, and then it takes about 2 weeks to get the acceptance on that.
Right.
So it varies.
Are you turning much work down at the moment?
Ooh, I only rejected 3.
Okay.
It's just because of the time that I've had.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Or there are points where a show clashes, and they asked me to do this one, but I've already been confirmed for that show rather than the other one, and I had to say no, give it to someone else.
Yeah.
But those are the only times I'll ever reject a show. But mostly I'll just go, bring it. Give me all the shows. I mean, like I say, Manchester is, really thriving in the music scene, but it's like getting it out there in terms of actually showing, well, London, look at us. We got a lot more to show as well. And, we want to show that similarity that, not only London gets, because of course it's the capital city, but Manchester is more there as well as Glasgow. I mean, Glaswegian scene. Wow. So good over there. Manchester is pretty much the same as well of its, just everything what we've got to show that, all the bands will come back to Manchester.
Of course.
So
of course, yeah.
To say, we always appreciate this city. I'm like, well, it's a bit obvious, but we bring it. That's the thing. We always bring it to them and go, this is what we've got. We can show how violent we can be. And here you go. So
Manchester's got every kind of, from the small to the arena, so there's everything in between. So you're going to get pretty much everyone will be coming through at some point. So.
And the drink is very cheap as well. So.
Oh well, that always helps.
So some venues can be expensive, but most of the drink is really, really good anyway. So go for the 2-pinters; they're good.
Obviously, you can't drink too much when you're on assignment.
Well, I've had a.
These ones are a bit blurry. What's going on here?
Luckily, my vision is fine. I drank maybe a couple of shots of Kraken at a few points of my life.
Right, in my life.
Well, I could drink Jaeger as if it was just water. That's fine by me. So I'm like, yeah, give me 3 shots of Jaeger. That's fine. And I look at it and go, actually, I do better without having the alcohol. What's
Some
all
people
about?
Might do better. I don't.
Right, don't drop the camera now, shit. That's 3-4 grand worth of equipment you're gonna break. So I have to be very careful on that
true.
one.
Yeah,
so.
you kind of got to be responsible, haven't you?
Oh yeah, well, good thing I have it all insured, so that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Well, the last thing you'd want is to lose something or have you broken much while you've been out there?
No, but
or had lost stuff stolen?
I know my one of my cameras before I got my full frame actually malfunctioned and it's not working anymore. And
yeah, just a complete technological breakdown, which equipment machines do. They just Not today. No,
That's it.
No, not working today.
It got to the point where it just didn't work at all. And I was on a night on an assignment for, I think it was Blackstone Cherry a few years ago. And I remember I was just taking the pictures, and then the next thing you know, it just said error, error, error. Every single shot was error. And until I had to literally try and salvage it, and it just didn't work at all. So I had to end up telling the PR, my camera malfunctioned, it's not working at all. And even like maybe a couple of days after it all happened, it still had the same problem. Right. And it's basically saying, yep, your camera is fucked.
Yeah,
you're not going to work.
There's no other word for it.
Oh god, it took me 6 months to save up for new cameras and new lenses. From that point,
so do you have a backup camera with you now?
Now I do, yes.
Yeah.
I had one, just the one, because I thought, yeah, this will be my only machine to work with. But no, it completely malfunctioned, and I didn't even do any work for a good 6-7 months. It was that bad.
Right, so you can't afford for that to happen again, can you?
Yeah, so that's why I got two this time around. So like, if one breaks, at least I got the other, and then I can actually buy a new one.
So when you arrive, you must have quite a lot of shit with you.
Yeah, I carry a massive. The bag is about like that big.
It weighs a ton.
God, it does. It actually hurts my back sometimes. I'm like, I need to get a frigging roller case next time around. You know, that was so work.
A pap coming with her own paparazzi. Oh, it's just all my assistants here.
Like lights and cameras and whatever shit they have. There you go, kind of thing. So yeah, that's something that I need to buy at some point anyway. But that will help.
What's that?
Like either a roller case to put all the gear in, and also just to improve my style, I suppose.
when you like go to really small gigs with small bands, you've got more equipment than they have.
Yeah, big case about like that big. Like, that's just two of my cameras and my lenses. Everything else is just I can put my shit in, you know. So that works out. So
most photographers have a lot of equipment, I would imagine.
They would do. I see a few have like 3 cameras and 5 lenses.
Wow.
One person actually brought in this. I don't kid you not. Proper bazooka of a lens, like that big.
The singer's trying to sing, there's like a lens in his face. He's like, what's this?
Whack, boom, like that. Like, ow, my head.
Proper, like those paparazzi ones that you see from 4 miles.
Yeah. Sport photographers, they have like
sit
that.
in the rafters at the back.
Like, yeah, it's fine.
Click,
click, click. Yeah, I got the shots, now go home. I'm like, yeah, my head, for God's sake, you know. So I've seen those ones. Wires, because of all the connectivities and everything.
Oh, yeah, everything needs to be wireless these days, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't got used to it just yet, even though my cameras are actually wireless. So when I do get the photos, I can actually send it through wirelessly on my MacBook Pro.
Okay, right.
Which is like...
You don't have to actually connect it up.
Yeah, I'm more the traditionalist where I'm like, right, get the wire, plug it in, that's it. At least I know it's safe rather than it kind of gets lost in translation.
Depends if it's faster or not.
Oh, yeah. This is where I'm like this. The one I've got is the Lacey, I think it's called. Well, how it's pronounced anyway. But the speed on the transfer of photos is just 2 minutes after 400 shots.
You've got like
brilliant.
8 gigs of photos.
Well, actually, I think my highest I've done is 56 gigabytes worth of photos.
For one show?
For one show. And that's across 4 bands, though, when you think about it.
Jesus Christ.
Like, whilst they're playing, I just usually remove them. I'm like, right, I'll keep this one, I'll remove this one. So it's kind of like that. And then it's easier for me to transfer it over.
What's your average sort of editing time after a gig to get before you're actually ready to hand the photos over?
It takes a day, obviously. But, like, the amount of photos that I usually do, it takes about maybe 4 to 6 hours.
Right.
So I had to go through, like, each shot going, yes, no, right, I could use this one, and it just kind of develops into a gallery.
Right. So do you have a default number, like I want to have 20 photos from this gig that I'm going to use?
Yeah. Sometimes the difficulty of some bands, that some of the shots that I take are that good, I'm like, it's got to increase the gallery a lot. So at one point I had about, like, for one band, about maybe good 56 good shots, and I didn't want to remove them because they were all too good.
Yeah.
But I went, okay, let me see which one grabs the energy and which one that doesn't look too samey. So I went, okay, I'll take this one, I won't let this one, but I'll keep it away just for next time anyway. So like, you know, for support acts, usually about maybe 10, main acts about 20, 25 max. I think I know for a few of the bands I took about 30 at one point. So, but you know, it just depends on how it kind of translates it for everyone to view it and go, "Ooh, this is great," you know. So.
Yeah, I mean, so you've been doing 10 years now.
Approaching 10 years, the 29th of December.
Wow. What was your first gig?
Wow, I need to really go back. It was Forever Never, actually.
And was that one you just went to?
Someone actually put me forward to do their show.
Right.
They know the person. They just said, "Okay, I could get you this this press. You just turn up and you just take the photos," and that's what happened. And that was like my first proper show. But like in terms of like the biggest ones I've done was Skin Dread back in the day.
Right.
And then it developed to Devil Driver, and then it went to a few more others. Five Finger Death Punch as well.
So initially, were you just going in the crowd and just taking photos, or were you actually managing to get the proper positions?
Proper positions, as the proper way, as I've always researched it on. A few of my friends will actually know the tour managers or people who can actually get me in. Or like, you know, with terms of actually getting my own access, I would have to communicate with the PRs and they could either say yes or no.
Right.
Back then I did it by myself, so this is where I either majority of it I get a no because I had to be with a publication and not work for myself.
So like now it's Distorted Sound getting gigs for you?
Yes, that's right. The editor is usually the one who say, right, we got the show for you, would you like to do it? I can say yes or no. Majority of it is yes anyway. And there will be others where I'll look into it and I'm interested, and it all depends on the editor choosing which ones that I could be suited for or the others kind of thing. So as long as I'm not fighting for every single show, I can actually give some away going, yeah, you could do that, it's absolutely fine because I've seen the show before kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So you were saying before, how many shows have you done this year so far?
I've got 2 more, which is a Revocation and Merca next week. I've done a total of 76.
Fucking hell.
I know. I don't know how I do it as well.
more than one a week.
One point I had a week where I had about 6 shows, and it was just one day off, and I went, Sab, what in the fuck are you doing? You know,
76. Wow.
I did aim for about 50, and I didn't realise I actually gone over that target like within 7 months of doing it.
What's your ideal number?
I don't think I had a number.
Right.
Usually I would do about maybe 25 or 30 back in the day.
But you'd rather be of a weekend at a gig doing photography anyway than doing pretty much anything else.
Give it. Just give it.
Yeah.
Bring it. I always say bring it.
Yeah.
You know. Like for this year, I really wanted to push myself in my art because I know for the past couple of years it suffered because of the amount of shows I've done.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I went, okay, let's see for this year, let's see what I could do. And I've just literally said, can I do this show? Can I do this show? Can I do that show? I literally asked, saying I could do this one. And then by the time they give me the shows, I go and do it, send it all off. And I'm like, right. That's when it actually helped me that the more shows I do, the more improved I'm getting. And it actually shows a lot. And I'm going, fucking hell, I couldn't have done this a few years ago.
But there is a point of doing too much, though.
It is, and I think after these last 2 shows, I'm going to frigging hibernate for a bit.
When's your first? Have you got one? What's your first of 2019?
Architects.
When's that?
On 14th of January, I think.
Okay, so that's a good few weeks off.
That's why I need 3 weeks just to sleep or just not do anything that's photos.
I was going to say, what do you do when you're not at gigs taking photos? But the answer probably is at gigs just as a punter.
Yeah. With Architects, I'm actually going to go there as a punter. But if someone asks me to do their show, I'm like this, right? I could just go there enjoying myself as well as just going, right, this is going to be a difficult show. And then I've got quite a few more other shows coming up in January. I mean, as far as I know, I've got about 8 in the month, not in the week, at least that's fine, in the whole month. And then it's...
When is traditionally the busiest time of year?
Good question.
Is it festival season?
Surprisingly not, because you got the festival season because all the bands come together. But in terms of like singular shows, you're looking at October, November, December, January, February.
Right.
And then March is usually like the busiest point, and then April, May, and June tends to die down a bit.
It's people are waiting for the releases are in the summer.
It is,
when they go to the festivals, they've got stuff to promote. So the quietest times, like
June, July, August.
Yeah. Really before festival season kicks in.
Yeah. And then September brings it back in, and then that's when it goes busy again. I mean, October and November were like the most manic ones this year.
So would you like to be able to get to a point where you say, well, I'm having this every year. I'm not going to work this month. I'm just going to have this month off. Or would you not want to do that in case such and such came through?
I think it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's an obsession as such, but I just want to be a part of every single show that everyone is saying, I'm going to check this band out. Why not you come along? And
especially bands for like Slayer and older bands. You never know which show might be their last show.
Because I'm hoping to go to Europe for a couple of festivals.
Have you done that before?
No, it will be my first time actually. So I kind of restricted myself just to stay in England. But I thought to myself, okay, let me have a little look for next year. And next year is, wow.
Like Grasspop or Hellfest or...
No, I'm quite tempted to Hellfest. Wacken maybe, but I'm looking at Copenhagen.
Right, I'm not familiar with that one.
Copenhagen, they've got Slipknot and Tool.
Right.
They're waiting for, I think they've got one more main headliner, but their lineup is quite strong. I know Download's set is so strong. I went, why on this particular year? Why? Where I don't want to go to Download, and then all of a sudden, yes, this is what we've got. Oh, fuck off.
You generally do Bloodstock every year then?
I do. I think this time around I'm going to take a bit of a break from it.
Okay.
Because I've did this since 2012 and up to 2017. Right. So it's been quite a while. Even I started off as just getting the normal press. And then until 2015, that's when it became official for a few years.
Okay, right, yeah.
And then that's when it just came to the point where I said, okay, let me take a bit of a break and see what else I can actually explore instead of confining myself into one territory, as it were. So, I mean, only just this year, I actually did a festival called Stone Deaf.
Oh, yeah? I know that one. Yeah.
Really good, actually. Yeah. I mean, and that was their first festival that they'd done. And I'm like, this is just too perfect.
For a first year.
Yes, and almost a sellout as well. And
it's impressive.
They didn't kind of go overboard with the tickets sales as well. They just kind of kept it to a number, and if it sells out, it sells out. Even the food sold out. I was like,
I've never heard of that before. Does that just mean they didn't have enough?
They didn't, no, because everyone was like, right, I'm buying it, and we're like, yeah, that sold out, and yet that sold out. We only
At least
just
they didn't sell out a beer. If they sold out beer,
no, they didn't.
Riots. You thought the mosh pit was bad when the queue outside the burger van.
Not the fucking beer, no! Why, God
Some guy throwing all the pot. I don't believe you. There's burgers in here somewhere.
Like, oh, I found a bit of cheese. Okay, here you go. It won't go to that point, but it did sell out on the food, and it was a really, really good night as well. Even for a one-day festival, it's spot on. I really enjoyed that.
Positive for the second year, then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they've already sold out their early birds already.
That's good.
I'm not too sure, the progress of that, but I know I'm going to be there for next year anyway, because after that first experience, I'm like, this is great. I'm going to go back. It's really, really good.
Well, sometimes at festivals, then, do you get free access to...
Yes.
Or free food, or...
Well, I still pay for my food and drinks, though.
Okay, right.
I
suppose it depends on the event, though, doesn't it?
It does, and also what kind of access that you have got, anyway.
What did you get at Bloodstock?
It was official, and we did get, meals, pretty much. So I got... all of the songs, side stage, backstage, and just pretty much anywhere. As long as you, you make sure you comply with the rules, then you're absolutely fine. So you don't be in the way of other band members, or you're not in front of the cameras or anything. So just kind of know where you're going.
Yeah.
And with that, I actually learned quite a lot how to be an official photographer. And it is quite a lot of hard work, but you do get a lot of great feedback from it. So, you actually become more aware of what you do or how you do it, and generally have a great time, and to be in the moment of some great moments that have happened, so I think, with Ghost, that was probably the most greatest moment that happened for Bloodstock as well. They managed to sell out that day in particular. And even for a certain band called Evil Scarecrow, they got the most packed out crowd at 11 a.m.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
I was like, you what? And that was brilliant. They brought it on, and I'm like, right, if they could do that, that's it. That really works out. And even, to process the photos, like, from all different angles, whether side stage, backstage, the crowd. I love the crowd.
Yeah, you do a lot of crowd shots.
Oh, I love the crowd. I'm beginning to embrace it a lot more than I used to.
That helps paint the picture, I think.
Yes, literally.
Like some people's faces are like,
Oh, I've got some really, really good ones back in the day. And, even, just to kind of like that's the whole thing. The whole environment is about the crowd. The pitters, everything, even the violence. I mean, I took a bit of a risk and actually gone just outside of the pit when Municipal Waste was playing. And I saw their show previously at Bloodstock, and it was the most violent thing I've ever seen.
We played with them a few years ago.
And I remember going, I'm going to be a little bit daring. I'm going to go in the centre. Just there around the edge, just to get more the crowd interaction when the band is playing, and that really got my attention to go, right, I can actually get a lot more energy. And just to be seeing people just running out. There's this dude who wore a Trump mask and full suit in that pit as well. It was fucking brilliant.
Did you capture that?
I did, yes. I literally went, wait a minute. Since when Trump became a fan of Bloodstock? That was, everyone was like, what the fuck? And I just imagine him going, it's just fake news. Like, well, yeah, we got you right there, mate.
Were you at Bloodstock a couple of years ago to capture Simon Hall, the main man, doing the forward roll?
I heard about it. I didn't get to see it.
Did you know about that?
But I've seen it all like in pictures. I'm like, oh my God.
Andy Pilkington challenged him for something. It ended up being for charity, I think. Like saying he was going to do a forward. He just said it. He just announced it without consulting with Simon Hall. He goes, Simon Hall is going to do a forward roll for charity at Bloodstock. And he just commented, and said, "Am I?"
Like forward roll.
This was about 6 months before the festival, so he just started building it up, doing all these cryptic posts about it. So then obviously it built up to the moment when they rolled that carpet out for him.
Oh yes.
So he did a forward roll.
We're like this way.
It's like the worst forward roll in history. But loads of people. It was hilarious.
Love that. Absolutely.
I'll put a link to that in the show notes.
It was really good. I mean, I think there was this one point where I can't remember his name. Adam Gregory? Oh.
Yeah, he's one of the main. He's one of the main guys there.
Well, basically, I think there was a point. It didn't happen, but he leant back on his chair and he broke.
I remember that. Yeah, Bloodstock did the Q&A with him and his sister Vicky.
Right.
Vicky Hungerford.
Yeah.
And
they say, show how many likes do you want this and everything else.
He just started, and he just went on his back in his chair, off the chair. Like you couldn't have, it was Facebook Live, so you couldn't have.
And he made it to a meme as well.
People took that moment and put it in a meme. It was hilarious.
I'll put
that in the show notes. But Adam Gregory, chair fail.
Oh my God, it is flipping brilliant. I think I must have laughed for a good 5
minutes. I missed it live, but
I watched it live. That was, I think.
But luckily you can go back and watch it. Oh my God.
She's like, how dare you ask them for more likes? And he said, yeah, what the fuck ever. That's it. And I just went, holy shit, that didn't happen. I was laughing for a good 5 minutes. It was that good. I just teared. Oh my God. I really wanted that moment to be repeated at one point. Yeah. If it ever happens.
It's there forever now in that meme, so we'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes.
It's the internet, you can't escape from it.
So where can people find you if they want to find you and your work?
So you can find me on Sabrina Ramdoyal on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. Facebook is the same, Sabrina Ramdoyal, all in one word. And also got a website which is sabrinaramdoyal.co.uk.
Yeah.
And the websites that I work for, obviously as well with Metal Hammer as well. Go to Distorted Sound, Pure Grain Audio, Metalwani, and Uber Rock. Those are the 4 publications that I work for.
We'll put links to all of them in the show notes.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming down. It's been awesome talking to you. You've been on my list for a long time.
Very long time, right?
And we'll have you back on sometime. Give us an update on maybe in a year's time when you've see if you have challenged yourself.
See if I become a tour photographer. That would be something I like to aim for one day, but we'll see what happens. So
Cool. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Thank
you. Cheers.